Peace, beautiful people. It's Holistic Selena, and today I'm going to be talking about how when you turn 25, your frontal lobe develops and a lot of things change for you in your life, specifically for women. So our frontal lobe is responsible for a lot of our decision making, emotional regulation, voluntary movement, speech production, and social behavior. So a lot of the ways that we show up in day-to-day life. So when you turn 25, this part of your brain fully develops and you have a different level of consciousness, a different understanding of yourself, of your life, of how to show up. And I'm so serious, when I turned 25, I noticed it. And it was interesting because when I turned 25 in the beginning of the year, my birthday is January 1st, I had like a big breakdown where I just realized, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is my purpose? I feel very far away from myself, from my truth. And I went down this very dark, deep spiral that kind of forced me to go back to ground zero within myself. It forced me to go back to the drawing board and to really decide who I want to be, what I want to do, the woman I genuinely want to become. And once I went through that uncomfortable death process of killing the old version of myself and I started to realize and decide who I wanted to become, that's when the journey began. And I can honestly say this has been one of the best, most transformative years of my life. So I want to share with you guys 11 things that I learned this year that completely transformed my life and allowed me to really step into the role of being the creator, of being genuinely happy, of loving myself, of living in purpose. These are the best things in life. And I unlocked it and I'm living it and I'm so grateful. So I want to share it with you guys today. So the first thing that I learned is, if I don't, who will? This understanding, this mentality will put you back in the driver's seat of your life. You stop waiting for someone to come and save you. You stop waiting for a relationship, for a miracle, for God, for your parents, for something to fall out the sky to come and save you. You start to realize how precious time is and that it's up to you to decide, to put the work in, to create, to make things happen. And when you first realize this, it can be kind of heavy and uncomfortable when you realize, like, dang, no one is coming to save me. It's all on me. My life is all on me. But once the heaviness goes away and reality sets in and you accept it, this becomes your greatest blessing, becomes your greatest gift to become your own savior. Because then you start to truly create the life that you were meant to live, that you decide to live, that God put here for you, not from society, not from a boyfriend, not from your parents, but from your highest self, your truest self. So once I realized if I don't do it, no one else will, that's when I put my big girl pants on, I wiped my tears away, I looked in the mirror, I got myself together, and I started to do the real work that I needed to do. And I genuinely started to create in my life. I stopped waiting for the perfect day. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I stopped waiting for the strength and the energy, and I just decided I was ready. And from that decision, my life changed. My second realization had a lot to do with relationships and realizing that being single and extremely focused is so much better than being in a relationship and being distracted. I know it can be super uncomfortable to be by yourself and to not have a boyfriend and to not have sex and to not have someone to cuddle with. I understand, but there's so much more to life than that. There is such a deep level of pleasure and fulfillment that comes from your purpose, from focusing on yourself, on your growth. So this year, I took so much of my focus, my time, my energy away from men, and I moved it towards myself, my higher self, towards God, towards my purpose. The improvements, the benefits, the happiness that I have, a man could never. So when I turned 25, I just naturally became celibate and I decided to focus on becoming my best self, because I know that through that process of becoming my best self, I will meet my divine partner, my soulmate, my husband. So let me focus on me so I can eventually align with him. And also subconsciously, I used to think and believe that my boyfriend or my husband, my man, would be the one to save me and to clean my life up and to give me purpose. And that thought is what leaves a lot of women very empty, and it makes you feel even more alone when you are in relationships, which I found in my own life. So I've done so much deep healing this year in my relationship to myself, to men, to my self-worth, my confidence, my purpose, and it has been so delicious. Now I don't really crave attention or partnership from men because I'm so fulfilled through my path of becoming my best self, of the purpose, of the money, of the love, of the present moment awareness, of all these beautiful things. And I took all that energy, that sexual energy, the emotional energy, and I just channeled it into creation, into purpose. That's a glow up. That's where the glow up happens. That's when you become a baddie. And the third thing that was a big change in my life when I turned 25 was that I started getting mentorship and I started going to church. I started to align myself with actual examples of people, environments, things that I wanted to be like. qualities of God, qualities of Christ, qualities of very successful people living in their purpose, financially free, time freedom, location freedom, doing what they want, living a purpose. Like, those are all things that I'm very aligned with. So I started to get mentorship from people that do that. This year, I really stopped being afraid to invest in my personal development, in my growth. And I realized that those were the places in my life I needed to invest in. And I've had 2 different mentors this year, and they absolutely changed my life. And it's so true that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And the way that you become ready to attract your mentor is through the mental work. It's through already deciding to release your limiting beliefs, your doubts, your blockages, all the things that are keeping you in that small place. You start to get so tired of your own shit, of your own past self, of your own repetitive cycles, of the draining of your energy. You start to get so sick of it. You start to prepare to kill that version of yourself, to shed that skin, to move into the next chapter of your life. So when you really make that conscious decision in your brain that I'm ready to do better, I'm ready to grow, I'm ready to radically transform my life, once you make that decision consciously and you do some actions to back it up, your mentor will come. The course will come, the teacher will come, the things will start to align, but you have to first make the decision. And about church this year, I had so much just curiosity and desire to connect more to God and to Jesus. And, you know, I've been on a spiritual path for a long time. I've been very much into the esoteric studies and practices, but I never really gave enough time to God and to Jesus. And this year, I just had a natural desire to surrender to that path and to ask more questions and to have more conversations and to go to different churches and open myself more to what I really need to know about God and Jesus. And I was shown so much, and my heart has been so opened to the qualities of Christ, the qualities of God, how to be a nicer, more caring, more genuine person that lives with love. And that's what Jesus did. That's what Jesus was. Jesus was a physical incarnation of unconditional love. So this year, 2 huge themes in my life was faith and love. And through going to church, I was able to get a lot of guidance and just aha moments and realizations of these 2 amazing qualities of faith and love, and began to integrate it into my life, into my being, and it changed me on such a profound, deep level. And I'm so grateful, because a lot of that energy first was for myself, of being more loving and compassionate and faithful to myself, which then allowed me to do that and be that for my environment, for my family, for my friends, for the world, for unhappy people, for people that hurt me. I came back home to myself, to love, to truth. And that's the greatest gift that you can give yourself in this world. The 4th point is about health. When you turn 25, you should lock in on prioritizing your health. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I completely changed the way that I ate this year. I was vegan for 12 years. And this year I started to eat much more animal products, very high quality, and just focusing on cellular nourishment, making sure that I'm getting the proper vitamins, minerals, amino acids, getting enough micronutrients, macronutrients, just nourishing and fueling my body, learning more about my body, prioritizing my health. And I noticed such a huge difference in my skin. In the beginning of this year and the ending of last year, my skin was dried out. My hair was dried out. I was just fried. Like, my nervous system was fried. I was just so drained from the last 2 years of my life. And I feel like I really restored my health this year. And I did blood work after 7 years. So when you turn 25, I highly recommend to check in with your body. If there are certain reoccurring symptoms or health issues, look into that. Get it checked out. Don't wait for it to get worse. The body is so resilient and so powerful, but if you neglect it and you turn a blind eye to your body communicating to you that it needs help, that it needs something to change or some type of support, and you don't listen to that, shame on you. Don't be surprised when you get sick or you get a disease or you can't work for a few months. The body speaks, so listen to it. The 5th point is really funny. So I've been an entrepreneur for many years, since I turned, I think, 20. I worked my last job for like a corporation or a business when I was 19. So for 5 years, pretty much, I was an entrepreneur. I just did like things of my passion. I hated being told what to do and working for other people. I've always believed in entrepreneurship and freedom. But then I got into a relationship and I was financially taken care of, and I got very lazy and complacent, and I stopped following my dreams. I stopped creating from my purpose. I stopped working. Like, I was just kind of lazy. He was lazy too, so it wasn't just me. And when I got out of that relationship and I went back home and I had no money and I had no purpose, boy, that was the craziest humbling ego death I've ever had. And what that taught me was to humble myself and go get a fucking job. Go work and go make money, go save money. as long as it's not a completely horrible job, like an overnight job or just kind of embarrassing or stripping or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with stripping, but like, let me not be problematic. But I had to humble myself. I had to step down from these beliefs that I created about working, about jobs when I was 20. And I had to be realistic and look at my life and look at the life I was creating. And I needed to make some fucking money. And right now I have the most money I've ever had in my life. Bank, in crypto, in investments, in my Roth IRA, and it feels so good to be more financially secure. And the interesting thing about the frontal lobe is that it has a lot to do with decision making, setting goals, planning for the future. And I feel like that really set in for me when I turned 25 and realizing I'm 25. I'm halfway to 30. I need to start taking life more serious. I need to make certain decisions now that I might not want to do, but it sets me up for a better future. To be an entrepreneur, you have to already have money to then invest into your products, into your business, into your investments. And it's so true. Money is not the root of all evil. The lack of money is the root of all evil. So get your bread up. Get in a nice routine, stack your money, and then invest it into your growth, into yourself, into stocks, into crypto, into whatever you decide. I'm not a financial advisor. Point number 6 is about reading. I became a freaking bookworm this year. Once I turned 25, I was just like, I need to fucking read as much as I can. I've always been a reader. I've always enjoyed reading, but I was never consistent. The first book that I read this year was Think and Grow Rich, and it completely altered like the foundation of my mind. I've known about this book for so many years. I've had it for so many years. I've skimmed through it, but I never actually read it. When I turned 25, I decided to read to actually integrate the information, not just kind of briefly skim through the pages and say, oh, I read that book. No, I'm reading it to integrate the information, to actually apply it into my life. And this year, I've probably read like 40 books. Like, I'm insane. Last month, I was reading 4 books at once. Because I'm like, I need the knowledge. Like, I want to soak it up. I want to know everything, especially about things that I'm passionate about and things that matter and things that can help me to help people and help myself. The more that I committed to my growth process, I started to align with books that changed my freaking life, bro. Point number 7 is about creation and manifestation. In Think and Grow Rich, I really started to notice that the reason why most people are not happy in life is because they don't have goals. They don't actually have an aim in life. They wake up every morning in a routine, in a cycle, but they're not really creating anything for themselves. They're not really fulfilling their purpose, their soul, their mind. They're just in a cycle. If you're walking down the street and you ask most people, like, what is your goal this year? What is your goal 5 years from now? They don't have an answer. I realized this year it can be kind of hard to set goals for yourself because it forces you to actually think and realize, like, what do I want? What am I even creating for myself now? That can be uncomfortable to sit with. So it took me a lot of time this year to create my goals. Sometimes I would have goals that were just ego-based. They weren't even really what I wanted. So I went through all these different goals till I finally locked in on certain goals that were like a frick yes in my body. Like, yes, that is what I need to create. That is what I need to focus on. And I learned that when you have a goal, if you act on it consistently until it happens, that is the process of manifestation. And I did that this year. This year taught me the beauty of consistent action. If you have an idea, if you have a desire, act on it consistently, plan it out, put the work in, and it will happen. Number 8 is huge. It's all about your inner world and your self-talk in your mind. When I turned 25, I realized that the 2 years before, I was just in this like daze. Like, I slacked on the way that I spoke to myself and what I allowed in the life that I lived, and it really caught up to me. I started to get kind of depressed, and I'm someone that does not usually get depressed or anxious, and I was experiencing these things. But the reason why I experienced these things was because it was teaching me. Everything in life is teaching you a valuable lesson, but you have to stop and analyze it and see what is being taught to me. There's such a huge remembrance of the power of the thoughts, the power of the stories that we believe and we tell ourselves constantly. That creates your world. That creates what's possible for you and impossible for you. So this year I did so much groundwork on the rewiring of my brain, of my mind, of my beliefs of myself, and more importantly, my worthiness. When I turned 25, I decided I am worthy. And my subconscious mind didn't believe it. My subconscious mind did not want me to feel love and to be happy and to follow my purpose, because there was so much like unconscious self-sabotage and negative stories that when I consciously was ready to change, my subconscious was like, you thought, bitch. With repetition, the right books, the right routines, the drilling into my mind, the not giving up, the love, the compassion, the forgiveness, what I consciously wanted started to seep into my subconscious. It started to become a part of my being, of my mind, my body, my spirit. My inner world started to reflect in my outer world, and that is the beauty of life. If you change your thought patterns and the stories in your mind, you then change your life. And this leads me into the next point, which is about being nice to yourself. The nicer that you are to yourself, you then become nicer to other people. And when you're nicer to other people, then people treat you nicer. And it's this beautiful cycle of love and good energy, but it first starts with yourself. I genuinely believe that all God really wants us to do is to be nice to ourselves, to have compassion and grace and understanding and wisdom for life and the cycles of life and our growth process and all these things. And again, this is such a reflection of how our inner world then reflects in the outer world. The way you treat yourself is how other people will treat you. From every bad experience that we have in the physical world, especially with people that are close to us, our partners, our family, our friends, there is something there for you to learn about yourself. Probably in a way where you can be more compassionate, more understanding, have more patience, or listen better. But you first have to practice that with yourself. And once you do that with yourself, you then easily can do it for other people. And the beauty of being kind and loving to yourself is that when you do it for other people, you don't do it with some underlying agenda to get something from them. You genuinely do it because it's a part of your purpose here on earth. You do it because you know that's what God wants. And number 10 is about meditation. When I turned 25, I actually started to meditate. After so many years of just getting so frustrated and annoyed and being like, oh, I can't meditate, it's too hard, or my mind is too loud or too crazy, or meditation is just so uncomfortable. When I turned 25, I just stopped bitching and complaining, and I stopped avoiding doing uncomfortable work. I just dove into what I had to do. All of the gurus and the spiritual teachers and the information I was coming across was telling me to meditate. It was telling me meditation is the answer. So instead of being stupid and hard-headed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna meditate no matter what, even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's no progression, even if I want to get up and do things, I'm going to meditate every single day. And in the beginning of the year, I would go like a week and then I would stop, and then I would go 2 weeks and then I would stop, and then I'll go a day. It was just very inconsistent. And then I realized my inconsistency and I was like, damn, I don't want to be an inconsistent person. I want to commit to what I'm gonna do and I want to follow through no matter what. When I realized that, I stepped up to the plate and I started to meditate every day, non-negotiable. More specifically in the morning. If I do it at night as well, amazing, bonus points, but I do it mostly in the morning. It took me time, it took me some trial and some errors, and finally I am over 100 days of meditating in a row, and I'm never gonna stop because I'm realizing how crucial meditation is. To pause, to self-reflect, to slow down in this fast-moving, crazy world, to calm the nervous system, to tell yourself everything is okay, to witness the stories, the thoughts, the energies that are going on, and to come back to the role of being the observer. Going back into the present moment where there is nothing that necessarily needs to be done or to be forced. Everything is okay and divine and perfect and beautiful. Meditation has helped me to create more space for myself, to have more grace in my growth process, in the observation of my thoughts, in the conscious choosing of who I want to be, how I want to act, what I'm thinking and why. And it's been a gorgeous process, and I feel like it's a huge part of maturity. And the last point is 11, and it's about societal expectations. And I feel like when women turn 25, they'll expect you to already like have a good job and to potentially be engaged or to have a baby. When you're 25, your fertility is at its peak. And I don't hold on to any of these scientific beliefs. Like, yes, they're so true, but I believe that my mind is the most powerful thing in the world. And as long as I treat my body well and I am living a fulfilling, beautiful life, I can do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. Whenever it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. Therefore, I don't fall into the time frame of society. I don't fall into that anxiousness and the comparison and the not enoughness that this world wants you to feel. I am whole, beautiful, perfect, and enough right now. And I also don't walk a traditional path. I did not follow the path that society paved for me or the path that my parents wanted for me. I chose me. I did what my spirit wanted, what my higher self wanted, and I will continue to do that, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I don't have the results that most of the world has when they're 25 or whatever. I'm doing what fulfills my spirit. I'm here to do the mission God put me here to do, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's scary. I trust, I believe, and I do the work till completion. And I also realized that a lot of this society does not align with my views, my beliefs, my understandings of life and reality. So why would I follow it? Why would I try to put myself into a box that I don't fit? I wasn't meant to fit there. I am a creator. I'm a conscious creator. Therefore, I create my own world. I was never meant to be placed into a box. I was meant to be free, to expand, to have limitless potential. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I hope you got some value from this video. Being 25 has been such a journey. The death and rebirth was so freaking real for me. But wow, I'm so grateful to be reborn. Remember, so much of the spiritual path and these concepts and these understandings, it's one thing to hear it, to read it, to write about it, but it's another thing to feel it and to apply it and to become it. That is where the medicine and the nectar lies. So much love, many blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you experience any crazy things when you turn 25 and your frontal lobe develop, leave a comment. Let's talk about it. Until tomorrow, bye.